Good morning, everyone. This is the Historical Buildings and Resource Committee. Today is Friday, May 17th. I would like to start off with our land and water acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from the Shoal Lake 40 First Nation and Treaty 3 territory. Now, the first thing we have to do, I would like someone to put in a motion to appoint myself as chair because,
Sandra?
okay. All those in favor? Motion carried. Now, I'd also like someone to put in a motion to approve the previous meeting.
I can do that.
Okay,
Yes.
all those in favor? Motion carried.
Oh, and I'm so sorry, Councillor Dobson.
What did I miss?
You didn't miss it. I missed it. We just need a motion to allow John, Jeff, and Nicola to participate remotely as well.
Okay, could I, someone want to put that motion in? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carried.
Okay.
Okay, first off, we are having some network issues, so this is going to be a little bit different. So we'll be struggling a wee bit. Our clerk today is Ms. Cohen, and from the department, we have Renee Rissy, and I believe she will introduce all the other members of the Historical Building Committee.
Sure, I can certainly do that. So I'm Rena with the Heritage Planner with the City of Winnipeg. We've got Sandra Hollander, we've got Joe Levin, Gary Hawthorne, Jeffrey Thorstensen, and Lynn Soanes. And online, we've got John Wells, Jeff Gawley, and Nicholas Vassoff.
Okay, so we have quorum.
We do.
All right, now if someone would like to start
Sure.
with item number 1.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm going to do is just give sort of a brief overview of what the purpose of today's meeting is, and just a little bit about the process. So the director of the planning department nominated all of the resources that are on the agenda for addition to the list of historical resources under the historical resources bylaw. All of the nominations were owner initiated, and I'm happy to say that all of the owners today support the nominations. With the exception of 145 McDermott Avenue, the City of Winnipeg owns all of the other resources. Although the boy with the boot is in the care of the Assiniboine Park Conservancy. So for each resource, the heritage values are noted in each respective historical report, which we unfortunately don't have access to today during our meeting, but I'll provide a very brief summary of each. And we're also going to be considering a proposed list of character defining elements. Those are also published online with the agenda, but I will provide a summary of those. So for today's meeting, this committee is making recommendations to the Standing Policy Committee on Property and Development on whether or not to add these resources to the list of historical resources based on heritage values. So the SPC and then the Executive Policy Committee and Council if necessary, but not for the city-owned properties, because I believe the Standing Policy Committee is the final decision maker on those. We'll then consider the HBRC's recommendations, and they may also consider the economic viability of conserving the resource. So I'm going to just get started now and go through the items. So our first item is the St. Boniface Public Library, which is the Coronation Park branch at 120 Eugenie Street. So I mentioned earlier, but our committee does a lot of work internally. So we have sat down, we've reviewed the historical reports that have been prepared by the department. We've evaluated whether or not each resource has heritage value, and today's meeting is really to formalize our recommendation. So even though today may seem quick, we have done a lot of this work prior to. So in terms of heritage value, this building's a good example of the international style of modern architecture, and it represents the expansion of the city's library services in the early 1960s. The branch was intended for the English language services, and the architects were Zunich and and I'm gonna mispronounce this, Sobkowicz. Does that sound right, Jeffrey? I'm looking to you. The proposed character defining elements in summary, essentially capture the entire exterior of the building. And on the interior, we have examples of the original laminate wood beams and ceilings. So I'll sort of stop there, and if there's any thoughts, discussions, or if somebody wants to move, we could do that as well.
Any questions or any thoughts and comments? Could I have a motion to, okay, motion's right there. All those in favor?
That was Joe.
Motion to.
Motion carried?
To accept the.
Yeah, to accept.
Yeah.
To recommend the addition.
Number 2.
So this is 255 de la Cathedral, the St. Boniface Public Library Provencher Park branch. This is a sister building to the Coronation Park branch and has very similar heritage values, except it was built for the as use for the French language library. And the proposed CDEs are again capturing the entire exterior, and on the interior, examples of the original laminate wood beams and ceilings. Any other further discussion?
Okay. No other discussion? Can I have a motion to,
To recommend addition?
all those in favor? Motion carried. Item number 3.
So we have another mid-century library, which is the Fort Garry Library at 1360 Pembina Highway. So this is another example of modern architecture in the international style, early 1960s. The building was designed by architect George Stewart, who also designed the St. Vital Library. And the proposed character-defining elements in summary are, again, the entire exterior. And on the interior, the wood beams and ceilings, exposed brick walls, the main floor volume of space, and clerestory openings between the spaces.
Okay, all those, I have a motion to accept, okay, or approve. All those in favor? Motion carried. Item number 4.
Okay, so we've got the Pegwas Pavilion at 2015 Main Street. The Pegwas Pavilion, which is in Kildonan Park, was named to honor Chief Pegwas, an Indigenous leader of the area. The building represents the ongoing modernization of public parks in Winnipeg. Its architectural style morphs brutalism together with the international style. And the architects were Blankstein, Coop, Gilmore, and Hanna. We now know this firm as Number 10 Architectural Group. And the landscape architect was Gunter Scotch. That's, I think, how you pronounce his name. So this one, the proposed character defining elements include elements of the site. And so the city has the authority to designate land or elements of a land. So with respect to its site, the CDEs are its immediate site surroundings that nestle the building and paved patio spaces and curbing retaining walls, etc. The entire exterior of the building, and on the interior, the concrete waffle slab ceiling and original fireplaces.
Okay, any other discussion on this one? Seeing no further discussion, could I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'd like to motion to, I guess, add this to the.
Yeah, add this to the list, okay. All those in favor? Motion carried, thank you.
Great.
Number 5.
The Customs Examining Warehouse at 145 McDermott Avenue. And as I mentioned earlier, this one is not owned by the city. This building housed the function of examining import goods by the federal government and represents the early development of Winnipeg as a fast-growing city. It's a fine design, and it's attributed to the architect for public works at the time, and it's an excellent example of the commercial style. The proposed character defining elements, again, in summary, we have elements of the site here, the buildings in the Exchange District National Historic Site. However, those aren't the elements of the site that I'm going to be referring to. But what we do want to do is capture the loading bays on the property because those were important to the function of the building. We're also capturing the entire exterior. For the interior, I do have an amendment to what was published, and this amendment was actually introduced working with the owner through the language. And so what the owner and I landed on was we would like to revise the entire interior character defining elements to now read the fireproofed steel frame, reinforced concrete floors, and iron and stone staircase. So they wanted that staircase added, and they also wanted to acknowledge that fireproofing was used in this building, and it was an early example of that. And did you capture that, Leah?
Yes, so it's the fireproof steel frame, reinforced concrete floors,
And iron and stone staircase.
and iron and stone staircase. Okay,
And they added that?
That was the original construction.
Oh, that's good.
It is good.
so just to confirm, the intention would be to delete both the steel reinforced concrete structural system and floors and the iron, stone, and staircase, and replace with the fireproof steel frame, reinforced concrete floors, and iron, stone, and stone staircase.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Any thoughts or discussions on that? Beautiful building.
Could I have a motion then?
Lynn.
And that is as amended?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor of that? Okay, motion carried. Item number 6.
Lastly, we have the Boy with the Boot statue at 460 Assiniboine Park Drive in Assiniboine Park in the English Garden section. So the city does have the authority to designate statues. They're considered a resource. So although not in its original location, the statue is an early example of a public fountain in Winnipeg and installed in the late 19th century. It is now housed in the English Gardens within Assiniboine Park and remains accessible by the public. So the proposed character defining elements are the entire statue.
Not just the boot?
So one key card, you know.
Any other discussion on this? Okay, can I have a motion? Okay, there we go, to accept, all right. All those in favor? Motion carried.
Just a motion to adjourn now.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
No
joke.
All those in favor? Motion carried.
All right,
Just like
guys.
that.
We did it.
Yes, well done.
Thank you.